Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the 119th edition of Cinema Effect. I'm Zach, and I'm joined by Disney's number one hater, Jaden.
Hello.
Hello, and we've also got PTA's number one fanboy, aka Fitzy, aka Liam.
Hey, what's up?
What's up? What's up?
Can you introduce me as PWSA's number one fanboy next week?
Absolutely, I'm taking that right now.
Yeah.
PWS.
Just
Wait,
as a
PWS. Oh, PWSA. Right, yeah.
Just as a funny, little.
Has anyone ever called him that? Ever?
I feel like everyone has to everyone puts in the WS to make sure they know you're not talking about the Thomas Anderson one. You know?
Or do they say just W, or is it W? Do they say WS?
I feel like it's WS, to be honest.
I feel like he's known as Paul W.S. Anderson, but sometimes shorthand people might say W. Paul W. Anderson. Is it Wes Anderson? No, is it no?
Paul Wes Anderson.
What's his name?
Whoa.
What's his name?
William Scott or something really just basic white shit.
He's just a white dude, isn't he?
I think he is. He might be. I don't know if he's Yankee or British.
Yeah, good question. No, he's probably Yankee with the films he makes. Let's be real.
Yeah,
let's be real. Let's be honest. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Cinema Effect, the podcast where we review and talk about a different movie every single Monday. And this week, that movie is Pride and Prejudice, which opened in the UK on the 16th of September 2005. It was directed by Joe Wright. It is a romantic drama. And the synopsis says, sparks fly when spirited Elizabeth Bennet meets single rich... sounds like Crazy Rich Asians, like the start of that synopsis. Meets single, rich and proud Mr. Darcy. But Mr. Darcy reluctantly finds himself falling in love with a woman beneath his class. Oh no. Can each overcome their own pride and prejudice? Oh. Oh.
Interesting.
That's why it's called Pride and Prejudice. Wow. I've just realised that. Thanks, everyone. All right. Fitzy, what do you think of Pride and Prejudice?
I liked it. I enjoyed it. Yeah, I think it was, very good. I think the acting's really great. I think the period is very nice. Yeah, it's very romantic,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's very nice. I don't know if I have problems with it. I have maybe some problems with some of the characters, but some of the acting. But I think it's a good movie. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Very good. Janet, what do you think?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty great. I watched this after a very long day and a very tired and drained experience, so I wasn't fully with it. But the fact is that it kept me engaged enough to the point where it didn't feel like a 2-hour film, and it also actually managed to keep me awake and aware, which I was surprised by because I thought I'd be out of it. I don't know. It's got a very entertaining charm about it, but it's different to the entertaining charm of Pride and Prejudice and zombies, because obviously that one has zombies and the Lily James.
Of course.
Yeah. So I need to decipher this one. It's
This is our new franchise, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it recommended me that afterwards. Pride and Prejudice and zombies. Yeah.
It's a banger, man. You gotta watch it.
Oh my god. I've seen this film before, and I really liked it. I really like it overall. I find it very enchanting, very charming. It's quite wholesome and even silly at times, but also sort of still has this sort of grounded level of investment in it. It always, despite it being sort of having silly and goofy moments, it always just enhances the experience and never feels like it's not taking itself seriously, I don't know. I obviously haven't read the book, but I feel like that feels true to what the source material would be, considering how classic it is. I don't feel like it's riffing on it or doing anything or taking the piss or anything like that, or at least sort of getting towards that territory or anything, which I guess could happen because, I don't know, it's like a tried and true story. It's a basic story overall. But I don't know, Wright's realization of the time period and it is just really fun to watch. And I think it's that combined with the performances that really just make it a really enjoyable movie for me. I really liked it, especially this second time. I really enjoyed it. I feel like we all sort of are pretty similar in that. I know your love for Little Women, Jade, and was that sort of your main level of engagement with it? Was just the fact that, like, dude, they're spending some time, you know what I mean, in the English countryside, these amazing, it's just gorgeous, and you get to spend some time in this period. It's just always just pleasant, isn't it? You know?
Yeah, it's a bit like Little Women, just a bit shitter in it. You know,
Okay.
Keira Knightley, Saoirse Ronan, you know, Emma Watson
Right.
as Rosamund Pike,
Yeah.
you know, Jenna
Yeah.
Malone's Eliza Scanlon, you know, Florence Pugh,
Okay.
and Carey Mulligan. You can draw comparisons for sure.
Oh, that was Carey Mulligan. Wow. This cast is stacked. It's unreal.
Yeah, Donald
didn't realise
Sutherland. I was like, what the? I was like,
Donald
yeah,
Sutherland,
oh,
dude.
jeez.
But Fitzy, is that sort of your main thing as well? Is that it's just like, it's just pleasant being in this world, you know?
Oh yeah, yeah. It is English countryside. It is like a lot like Little Women, like a lot. It does feel like very similar, and also the cast. Like I had to like pause the movie like when they introduce like all the characters, like because it is really sad. Like Gina Malone is her sister as well. So I was like,
Yeah, I was surprised by that because like she's a Yankee. I was like, how'd you get her all? Here?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But is she the one? Wait, is it her or Carey Mulligan that ends up getting married to Collins? Well, no, not Collins, the soldier.
Wickham,
sorry,
or whatever.
Wickham.
yeah, Mr. Wickham.
Yeah,
It was her, Lydia.
Mm,
Okay.
I made an effort to remember all the characters' names.
Yeah.
Go through them now.
Quick.
Oh shit! All right, so obviously you have Elizabeth, Mr. Darcy, Mr. Bennet, Miss Bennet, who's the redhead. You know,
I feel like I'm sort of cheating.
What?
Mr. Bennet, Miss Bennet.
Oh
Miss
yeah,
Bennet,
well
number
they don't
two.
really have
Number 3.
They don't really
No, you're
have-
right. You're right. I like the scene where the dude walks in and he's like, "Hello, Miss Bennet, Miss Bennet, Miss Bennet,
Oh, yeah.
and Miss Bennet." Yeah.
And then you have Lydia. Well, wait, no.
Oh, God.
Hold on. So there's the Bennets, and then there's the
Bennets, the Bingleys, the Darcys.
Oh, Bingley. Sorry, I was talking about the Bingleys. So there's
Yeah.
Mr. Bingley and Miss Bingley, who are like the redheads.
Mm.
Yes.
And then there's Papa Bingley. I mean, there's Papa Bennett. I mean, it's kind of some of them just don't have names. They're just Miss or Mrs. last name. You know. I
Yeah, like
remember
what's
Lydia.
Darcy's first name? I don't know.
Yeah.
John?
It's like, what's Obama's last name? Like, we'll never know.
Yeah, I mean, dude, Donald Sutherland in this movie, like him, it feels so random. I really like him in the movie, but I have this question. I don't know how stupid this is going to sound, but like at a certain point, I don't know if it's got to do with just his inherent accent already because he's Canadian, or if it's because he's reached a certain age. But at a certain point, like, is he even doing an accent in this movie? You know what I mean? Like when I'm just watching him, I'm not like, oh, Donald Sutherland's doing a British accent. I just feel like he's just talking
It sounds
normally.
like it, yeah.
It just sounds like he's just doing his own thing, but it also... So then it made me question, wait, is he... What nationality is he? You know what I mean? I don't know. I feel like when you reach a certain age, maybe you just don't even have to do accents. You just sort of speak and everyone just accepts it, you know? Oh yeah, it sounds sort of vaguely British, I guess. Sure. You know? I was sort of like... I couldn't even get my head around that. It was kind of weird. I don't know. I feel like the main reason I saw this film a couple of years ago. I think I even brought it up as a highlight at the time, if I recall. But the main reason I wanted to rewatch it is that I really enjoyed it the first time for all the things we've sort of talked about already. I just really enjoy period pieces in general, and the music's awesome and the shots are awesome. It's just sort of a pleasant experience overall. But the main reason I wanted to rewatch it and sort of re-immerse myself in it properly, and I sat down and put headphones on and, you know, just really tried to dig into it, was for one simple reason, and that's the fact that the first time I watched this film, it's so funny because the story is so simple. It's so simple. But the first time I watched this film, I was Rosamund Pike at the end, where I was like, I thought she didn't like him. You know? Like, I was so confused by the whole ending of the film for the first time I watched it, genuinely. Like, I had no idea why she liked him, Mr. Darcy. I was like, obviously Mr. Darcy likes her because it's Keira Knightley, and it's also just like, you know, he like has that first moment where he sees her. It's like really obvious. But then the first time I was like, I don't get this at all. So I came in with the entire experience of just like wanting to wanting to get it, from her perspective. And I feel so stupid because, at least for me on this rewatch, it's so obvious she likes likes him from the start as well. And I just did not pick up on it the first time, which I guess is actually a credit to the story, because like all the characters at the end have the same reaction I did the first time. So I guess in some, like, I don't know if I think I am a bit stupid, don't get me wrong, but I feel like on some level, like, it was meant to be a slight subversion. At least the characters acknowledge it, you know what I mean? So that made me feel a bit better. But I wanted to ask you guys what your experience was with that. Jane, you're already like, dude, you're a doofus, bro. Come on.
Yeah, big time. You could tell, like, through all her shit talking about, oh, he's not interested in me. He's not interesting to me at the start. Like, you could tell. You could tell there was an attraction. And then maybe it probably did fade, like, when like she realized it was an arse. Well, realized, but like, like after the whole like Mr. Wickham thing. But then like the entirety of from the cousin's place onwards, you can just tell. You can tell even when she got pissed off at him. Like, you could just tell.
Yeah.
You could tell in the way that she got pissed off at him. She was expecting more. It's just you just tell.
I've got no eye for love, Jaden. I've got none.
Oh,
absolutely.
And I do.
No romantic eye whatsoever. Liam, are you going to save me or turn on me here?
No, I mean, you could definitely. Isn't there? There's like a whole scene where they're dancing together and they're like focused on both, but that's maybe later on. But in that scene where they're introduced, like they look at each other and she giggles or whatever. I found that giggling at the start that was a bit annoying. Like, it was like over. They were like really happy,
like all the siblings and their sort of camaraderie throughout the whole thing. You mean like them always
especially
carrying
at the
on.
Start. Yeah. That was like a bit.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Like, I think you can tell from the start, basically. That's not what really confused me though. There are some things in the movie that I had to look up afterwards, like
the whole paying for your wife thing, or like, because that tripped me.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Well, what I didn't understand was Miss Bennett's reaction. So she's like really. This is jumping like way ahead in the movie, but like she was like really depressed that Lydia had run off with Mr. Wickham, and they didn't know where she was and stuff. But then once she finds out that they're married and that they're gonna pay him or something, she's like really happy about it, and that she's married. And I had to like kind of look into it afterwards, but basically I think it's that like marriage is like such a big deal, and she was, I guess, in danger of being abandoned somewhere and they couldn't find her or something. So I think that was it. It was just like, but the thing in the end though is that
it was just like scandalous, and like the way like to elope without marrying, like is
but also like the thing in the end that confuses me is that like she's still marrying Mr. Wickham, and Mr. Wickham's like supposed to be like a terrible guy still,
Yeah.
And so it's kind of not really a happy ending, but for Lydia. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I guess. I mean, yeah, he's like, he's not ideal because he's money hungry, but I feel like the happy ending, well, I mean, I guess if we were to retell the whole story from Lydia's perspective, you could repaint it as a tragedy or something, I guess. But I mean, Darcy ended up paying. So she ends up, the thing is that she has a husband, she has an estate, she has an income, like she's sort of achieved the life purpose of all women at the time, you know what I mean?
Wow, Zach. Oh my god.
That's literally the story.
Can you believe this, man? Look at this shit he's spouting. It's like he watches Andrew Tate.
19th century mindset.
It's totally true. That's what the thing is.
Yeah, but I think, okay, this is also one of my problems with the movie, though, in general, is that it's not like we're not shown how terrible Mr. Wickham is. Apart from, like, there's, like, when she's, like, going away on the carriage, you kind of see her, like, pull her back down because she's, like, waving or whatever. But, like, a lot of things happen, like, behind the scenes,
Wickham isn't like he's not like a. I mean, like, I'm sure they're all wife beaters back then, but like he's not like a bad person. It's just that he was like a gambler, and like he was just like
he just wanted more money.
No, but that's the thing though, because he is supposed to be a terrible person. Like that's the intention, like of, I guess, the novel, and maybe this is that like he ran away with her without, any intention of marrying her, and that at the time was like horrendous enough. And he also like lost respect in the army, and he like did all these things. Like even with the father situation with Mr. Darcy, is that he not only like gambled away the money, but he didn't like, he didn't want to do anything for it. He didn't want to do like he didn't want to give in like to the dad's request or anything. So there is like a lot to him that's like, I don't know. I think he's supposed to be much worse, and he doesn't seem that way, especially because the actor is just like, he doesn't feel that, he doesn't really feel that bad. His betrayal, he really doesn't feel like, you don't get that vibe.
Well, it's interesting that he did end up with Mr. Darcy's money that he so desperately wanted.
True.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing I was asking about, like, why he was like after Lydia in the first place. Because like he could have done that if he knew that like Mr. Darcy was into Elizabeth, because then, in those times it would have been ruining the family, so that he's basically like seeking out his money, or like seeking out the uncle's money. He's basically like, yeah, a kind of hostage thing. Like, if you don't give the money, I won't marry her. I'll just like ditch her somewhere, and then they'll have like a bad reputation as a result.
Well, that's what he already did that with Darcy's sister, didn't he?
Yeah. Well, he was trying to
yeah. Forget about that part.
Yeah. Well, they're both like 15 as well. Like it's both like, oh yeah, there's a lot to Mr. Wickham. That's like,
we've had this 5-minute analysis of Mr. Wickham. He's so, dude, I didn't think like much more about Mr. Wickham other than I was like, oh, that's Rupert Friend, and that was about Friend. Now he says that, and I'm like, oh, that's about it. But I appreciate it.
Who's the actor?
Rupert Friend, aka the Grand Inquisitor.
Oh, okay, Star Wars. I see.
Yeah. But I mean, he's just Rupert. I don't know. He's in things, but anyway, Mr. Wickham. I feel like I need a prequel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's
Pride and Prejudice universe.
100%.
Well, I feel like you could do a prequel, or like something from like Mr. Darcy or Mr. Wickham's like POV, because like there's so much.
The way that like Stephanie Meyer made like a Twilight novel from like the male perspective, we can.
Yes.
We can rewrite.
Did she actually?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And then I'm pretty sure E.L. James did one for the 50 Shades, just as well.
Oh, Jesus, that's interesting. What's it called? Oh, this is like this book's got to be public domain, so you can just go and do it, Fitzy. You know what I mean? Just do it, publish it.
Oh, there would be. I'm sure there would be a version of it.
You can make it even. You can make it like raunchy if you want. Do whatever you like.
I wish I can go on AO3 right now and find so many bloody stories.
Oh no, absolutely, yeah.
I don't want to do it because my computer will brick up, but I could.
All right. Now, Jane, earlier, I feel like, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like I sensed a little shit talk about Keira Knightley. Or was it just the comparison to Saoirse Ronan? Is that all?
No, it was just in the comparison. I've got no issue with Keira, yeah.
I think Keira Knightley's awesome, dude. Like I feel like just watching her in this movie, I mean, I feel like she was born to deliver this dialogue. Like every word she says, mainly in the arguments that she has with Darcy, I just find those scenes like incredibly engaging. Just they're back and forth, and I don't know, like their chemistry is really good in terms of like their verbal chemistry, and I don't know, like the dialogue's delivered at such a fast pace, and it's all intense and stuff. I love that scene when they're like standing under cover with the rain, and he confesses his love to her, and they just like start yelling at each other. I think it's great. I think it's terrific. Like that's sort of top tier stuff for me. Yeah, yeah. And there's a few scenes like that in the movie where like she really shines, and I think she's terrific. But dude, I was watching this goddamn movie, and I was like, Mr. Darcy seems a bit familiar, but I just can't. I'm not sure who plays him. I'm not sure. I can't figure it out. And I've been watching Succession, and I just can't figure it out. And I had this moment where I scrolled through the IMDb, and my face, you should see my face. I was like, I'm such a fucking idiot. It didn't even connect that it was the Succession man, and I couldn't believe it. Talk about like the most polar opposite performances of all time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
I was so impressed.
Yeah.
I was so impressed. Yeah. Oh my God. No, he's great in the movie too. He's terrific. His whole he plays up the whole like the way the story is meant to unfold. He really services it because you're sort of like, oh, he's sort of an asshole. Then you sort of learn, oh, he's sort of just an introvert. Then you sort of realize, oh, he's actually a really good dude. You know what I mean? It's sort of the 3 steps there.
He's an asshole. No, he's an introvert.
No, he's a good dude. Yeah. It's sort of like that's the 3 steps you take with Darcy, and I think he's really good at that because, like, especially on a rewatch, like when you see him at the start, when he walks into that room and everyone like stops and he walks through all sort of like stone faced and stuff. Like the first time, like, who's this dickwad? You know what I mean?
Really? That's how you feel?
The second time, yeah. But then the second time, I'm like, I know what's under there. You know what I mean? He's a good dude. He's cool. And that's sort of, I don't know, I feel like the story's so simple, but I feel like it's quite well done overall. Like, I totally understand why, I mean, obviously the whole, like, Wickham thing, I didn't mean to bring up Wickham again, but, like, the whole thing with him and, like, in terms of the true nature of his relationship with Darcy and, oh, Darcy screwed me over. No, he screwed us over. Yeah. Like, that was obviously just a plot thing to, sort of subvert her. But overall, just in terms of his behavior, though, like the way you see, like when Keira spies him, like with his sister, and the way he then does all this stuff behind her back for her, or that he moves all the money around and makes the political moves to make her life easier. And when you start seeing that, like that sort of does unfold quite naturally from Keira's perspective, I think, for the audience as well, where you're like, oh yeah, this guy's sick. This guy's a cool dude. And I feel like his peak moment for me was when they went back at the end to the Bennett house and they walked in there awkwardly and then just left. And then he had to give Bingley a pep talk outside. And then you're going to go back in there. You're going to go back in there and you're going to do it again. And I was like, yeah, dude, let's go. So that shit was really good. But
I love the fact that at the end of the movie, like he walked, like the second time, like he professed his love, he walked there, just like to marry Keira Knightley, and like it was nice, it was very nice.
Yeah, it was very nice. That scene at the end where he walks sort of with the fog in the background in the morning, and he's walking towards the camera for like a minute. I love that scene. I love that shot. I think it's phenomenal. I don't know. It's something about it. Like it's a gorgeous shot, and like I think the music in that scene, the score does a lot of the storytelling. Like sort of, it just feels like this huge moment that the movie's been building to. It really pays off. It's very nice. But hang on, I've got some trivia here. Oh yeah, Matthew McFadyen, who plays Mr. Darcy, has very poor eyesight. In the misty morning, director Joe Wright was behind the camera waving a red flag, so McFadyen knew where to walk. That's good. I like that. But yeah, that was an awesome moment. But even preceding that, what about bitch Judi Dench in this movie, That surprised anyone when she popped up? Because I forgot she was in it, and I had like the same reaction I had the first time. I was like, oh, wow.
I think she's the picture on Netflix, isn't she?
Oh, yeah, I think so.
Oh, I didn't see that if she was.
I think she is, because like, I knew she was...
Oh, that's a shame.
I love Tom Hollander more than fucking Judi Dench. She was...
Who's that?
The awkward cousin.
Oh, Mr. Collins.
Mr. Collins.
Oh, Mr. Collins, 100%.
Yeah.
Guys, okay. So when I say this, I'm not being like... What's that?
Nothing, don't worry.
Okay. So Mr. Collins he's definitely autistic, I think. And I'm not being like, I'm not saying that in like derogatory, in a derogatory fashion, but like, I think he's actually autistic. Like the way he like is super specific about the way he speaks and the way he's just like, he's like extra like social awkwardness and stuff like that. Like, yeah, I think he's autistic. Sorry, it's just
the proclamation has been made.
Like I said that like a minute in to his introduction, and then he just kept being autistic.
I don't disagree. No, I don't disagree at all. I love him. I think that guy was perfectly cast. Like that was like such a perfect casting. He looks the part for what he is, and like, dude, oh my god, like him throughout the entire thing, he's pretty funny. Like, I love the scene where he tries to propose to Keira Knightley, and he like can't make eye contact with her, and he also can't, like, he just keeps rambling, and he sort of can't comprehend she's saying no. But like not in a he just sort of doesn't process it. He sort of just like keeps talking and just keeps looking around like as he's kneeling, you know.
Evidence, yeah.
Evidence, yeah, exactly. Proven. Was it you, Fitzy? You already mentioned the scene where Darcy and I'm going to keep calling her Keira Knightley, but goddamn, what's her name, Elizabeth, where they have that dance for the first time. I don't know. For me, that's like I sort of see the second time I sort of see the underlying like, you know, we're fighting, but we're really sort of into it. You know what I mean? But the first time, like that is on the surface a hostile conversation. You know what I mean? That scene. They sort of bicker about each other's personalities and all that sort of stuff. And the Wickham thing comes up again, of course.
Yeah, but it's all a flirty type of bickering. You know?
I know. I saw that the second time, but it is hostile on the surface. You know what I mean? And I'm stupid, as we've established, obviously.
Even in like the very early scene where like Rosamund Pike is sick and stays the night, and then you know the entire Bennet family rocks up. But like you know, first Elizabeth is there just on her own in like the room with Bingley, Darcy, and Bingley too.
Yeah.
Like even there, like the way that she responds to like she responds and contradicts everything that Mr. Darcy says, but there's like I don't know, there's a thing about it, you know.
Right. Yeah, no, 100%. I couldn't agree more. And that thing about it, I just did not see. I did not see it. One thing I was confused about in the film, I actually wanted to talk about the dance scene, but I remember this. No, it's okay. While I remember this, I do want to say also, I was so confused about like, how do these rich people, because there's a comment made by the uncle at one point, I think, where like these wealthy people are never home. And like Darcy's staying at the Bingley's house for like a month or something. Do they just like have sleepovers all the time? You know what I mean? Like, are they just always traveling to their mates' houses?
Yeah, because like there is no other entertainment, so they all just get together and read books and chat to each other.
Interesting. That's cool. I like that. Yeah. Okay. That makes, because I was sort of like, why is this super like, you feel like one of the wealthiest dudes in the country. Like, why are you just like always like in someone else's home? You know what I mean? Like you're homeless or something. But I mean, yeah, totally. Like, why would you just be at home with your dickhead 15-year-old sister when you can be like hanging out with the lads, you know, talking about poetry and shit, talking about opera or whatever the hell we had to do in those days, talking about Shakespeare.
That's how Frankenstein was born.
Yeah, all the great literature and shit like that. Anyway, sorry, the dance. I really liked the scene. I found it humorous how it started with Collins and like Rosamund Pike, Collins, and Liz are trying to have sort of a conversation that's evolving between the three of them, and it keeps getting interrupted as they have to keep dancing around and stuff. I thought it was fun. But anyway, I like it. That's another one of those scenes. I like the one in the rain I already mentioned, but just where I feel like old mate Darcy and Liz have great chemistry. You know, I think it's really great. And just the way it's shot, this is actually one of my favourite pieces of trivia of all time, because I actually distinctly remembered this piece of trivia from when I read it 2 years ago. And when I rewatched the film, I had it in my brain. And that is, while editing the scene with Elizabeth and Mr. Darcy's first dance, Joe Wright discovered they had inadvertently gotten the entire scene in one take via a camera in place to take establishing shots. And that's the take they used. So they just had this camera sitting back there, and they were just like, yeah, we'll just keep this here in case. And they realized they had the whole thing, and they used it. And I was like, that's awesome. It totally, like, I think it enhances the scene, like, shitloads. Like, can you imagine, I don't know, the same version of that scene where it's sort of over-the-shoulder stuff and just lots of cuts as they keep moving, just it isn't as effective, so. And also, Joe Wright just loves a good one-er, you know. He can't help it.
One-er.
He loves one-ers. Dude, how many awesome one-ers were in this movie alone, you know? It's sort of ridiculous. That opening shot as we come through the Bennet house for the first time is awesome. The shot, of course, of the ball sort of midway through. That one's so good that it's like a minute long, and it keeps coming back to the same characters. You know, as it moves through the whole room and stuff. That was awesome. I love that shot. But Fitzy, we all know that these cute little one-ers that Joe was doing here, you know, they were just practice for Tony. Yeah, you know what I mean? They were just practice for Dunkirk. You know it.
Yeah.
Like, it's so funny with that perspective, yeah.
The freaking zoom ins in this movie, though, it's like there's so many like quick, like, you know, it's almost like it's really goofy. Like, there's not like as a fault or anything, but did you guys notice like how many like freaking just like camera faces there were that just zoomed in. The camera just zoomed into, and it was like pretty like jumbly, you know.
I didn't notice at all, to be honest. Is there a specific one that sticks out in your head or something? Or
Really, it was like the whole thing that I noticed was like that was like the main stylistic.
Do you mean like it cuts to like it zoomed in on the face, or do you mean like it zooms in onto the face, like from the same?
Yeah, like it zooms in on the face. Like when Mr. Darcy like walks in, he's in that house and he's like talking to Elizabeth. When he walks through the door, it like zooms in on his face really close.
oh
I was
yeah,
like, what the hell?
yeah, I know
It's
that
like
one.
like some
Yeah, I know
shark tail or something. Yeah.
I don't recall it happening that much, but I'll take your word for it.
Interesting.
I'm not calling you a liar, but you know.
Oh, I didn't really. So the whole thing with what's her name? Rosamund Pike's character,
Jane.
Jane. Yeah, the whole thing about like her, like Mr. Darcy broke up their relationship between Jane and Mr. Bingley because he thought that Jane didn't like her and the reason that Elizabeth gives is because Jane was shy. But like I never understood that from the film or got that from the film that Jane was shy. Like I felt it was always obvious to everyone that they liked each other, you know?
No, well, I think they mean that like there's no real scene in the first two acts that indicates that Jane actually does really like Bingley. You know?
But they danced with each other all night, like the first ball where they met.
Yeah, I think he finds. I don't know. I get it. Like, I think she finds him pleasant, but like, there's nothing to indicate that like she like loves him and wants to marry him. You know, she never like says that. But the thing I find, so I'm sort of with you in the sense though that I do find it weird that like when Darcy makes that point, I was like, oh yeah, I sort of see what you're saying, but then he ends up being wrong. Like he's wrong because at the end she does like admit that she's really happy to be marrying Bingley. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So I was sort of like, that was sort of like a bad move. Did he just? So he just like misread the room?
Yeah. Well, that was one of the things that Elizabeth said how he fucked up later on. But like,
Yeah.
what I'm saying I don't understand is that, like, whether you see them, you know, whether it's obvious that they love each other is like irrelevant. I'm talking about the fact that the reason that Elizabeth gives for Jane not being able to show that is that she's shy. I never thought that she was like shy. Like I didn't get that from Rosamund Pike.
It's not so, but isn't it more like she doesn't fully explain or express herself?
That's how I interpret it. I don't think it's literally. Yeah,
yeah. It's not like
it's
not like a kind of scared to show your face and interact. It's just that you don't kind of fully reveal yourself type thing.
You don't express yourself.
But she was an expressive character. Like that's what we got from her.
Like Keira Knightley tells us that she isn't.
Yeah, but that's the only indication that you get because like their conversations together, she's like really expressive. You know,
she is.
She's literally the polar opposite of the reasoning that Elizabeth gives for why Mr. Darcy would have felt that way about her.
That's true. I'm trying to think back. Yeah, because she does say, yeah, she doesn't even reveal her true feelings to me. Keira Knightley said that. And I'm just trying to think back on the scenes that they have under the blanket. Like, what do they? I feel like they do. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, but she might not be like explicitly referencing like this instant. You know.
I know, but
yeah,
I'm seeing what Fitzy's saying though. Like, I feel like overall it's not entirely consistent.
Well, she says she does reveal her true feelings to her, doesn't she?
No, she said she doesn't. She doesn't even reveal.
Oh, okay. It feels like really inconsistent with the description of the acting. Like doesn't she? Like she feels like an expressive character now, like Jane does.
Yeah,
not as much as the other daughters.
they're like a 12 out of 10.
Yeah, I think Jane is the most reserved of the sisters.
It's probably true.
Actually, maybe Tallulah Riley, but
oh yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
You're right about that. Everyone's an idiot when you watch this movie, am I right? Except Jaden, of course, he got it. He got it fine. Yeah. I mean, I must say, like, talking about like the silly giggling sisters and stuff, like, I don't know, like, it wasn't really a problem for me. Like, that one scene, there's a scene where they're like watching the soldiers as they walk past, like the parade or whatever it is, the march, and they're there and they're just watching, and it's like a 30-second scene where they're just like laughing their heads off at the fact there's just men there. You know what I mean? And I was like, that was like the most egregious example where I was like, why is this scene in the movie? Why are these like children like this? You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe they were just, I don't know, were they just that horny? I don't know. It's kind of weird. Overall, though, like I do like that layer of sort of youth and innocence that the film does have. And I think the film does a good job even of acknowledging it. Like, I really like that scene where, I don't know her name, the Keira Knightley's friend who ends up marrying Collins.
That's her
and
sister. That's her older sister.
Is that her older sister?
No, isn't that? No,
I don't think it is.
That was a friend of the family.
No, that was the oldest. That was definitely the oldest.
No, because the five sisters are Rosamund Pike, Keira Knightley, Tallulah Riley, Carey Mulligan, and Jenna Malone. And then the sixth one is just like a friend of the family.
I thought she had a different name.
She did, yeah.
Really? I could have sworn she was introduced as like the oldest.
I don't think so. She's never at the dinner table or anything. But
That's
anyway,
true.
I really like that scene where Keira Knightley's on the swing and she tells her, like, Keira Knightley's like, yeah, well, why are you going to be with this guy? Like, you don't even really like him that much. And she's like, dude, I'm 26. I've got no prospects. This is my security. This is my, this is my pillow, my safe. This is the right thing to do for me at this stage of my life. And I was like, that sort of grounded like the whole rest of the film in this like chase of like true love and all this sort of shit that the rest of the film is. And like youthful desire for like, everything, all the giggling at the balls and like who's going to marry who and matching up with other people and all that sort of thing that the film deals with. I feel like that was a really good scene that sort of just added a layer of like of reality to it. That then when you continue to watch the rest of the film and all the rest of the giggling, I'm just going to call it the giggling, as it all continues throughout the film, you sort of think back to that moment and you're sort of like, yeah, I understand that. And that adds also an interesting historical element to it as well. Just a bit more of a comment on the society at the time that, this is what women had to do. So I thought that was an important little addition as well. Because without it, I don't know, I feel like the film would have just felt a bit like not really addressing the realities of the time and place it takes place in,
Yeah. Yeah, that grounded the story, but in the order of the time or whatever. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I think so. And that's sort of what made the rest of the giggling more enjoyable for me, or just more acceptable for me overall, I think. Otherwise, it would have been like, bro. And I even still was like, bro.
I love how Mr. Bennett just didn't just disown his daughters. He disowned Lydia. He was like at the $100. He was like, that's a generous sum for Lydia. He like hated her the whole time. Did you guys not pick up on that?
Is that it? I don't know if I read it that way, but
no, it's not just that scene. It's like it comes up
really?
like 3 times. Yeah. I'm not making it. This is like.
I don't think it's is it hate or is it just kind of being tired? I mean, like with 5 daughters, she's the youngest. She's kind of just the one that's going to cop it a bit.
He's annoyed with her the whole movie, guys. Did you not watch it?
I sort of thought it was like just sort of like when your parents like makes fun of the fact like, oh yeah, well he's not going to get anyone. You know what I mean? Like that sort of humor. I don't know.
Yeah, but he just doesn't like how giddy she is, like at all, like the whole movie.
I feel like Carey Mulligan was more giddy than her.
Yeah, but he just like, oh my god, just watch the movie, guys.
Jaden, I know what happened. I know what happened. Okay, Fitzy watched the Colin Firth one, and we watched. It's just it was just a bit of confusion there. It's all right.
Yeah, we watched a BBC miniseries, right?
Yeah. There's that many. It's totally fair. It's fine to just admit it.
I don't have a problem with like the giggles as you call it, but like
yes.
At the start, the same reason I love Little Women is kind of a reason that it took me out of this. But like all the overlapping voices, just like when like the sisters are together and like they're kind of gossiping and like inside, it gets cluttered and just noisy and just kind of overbearing, does it not? Whereas in Little Women, it feels like it fills the room and it makes it lived in. But in this, it just feels like it's I don't know. It's almost like it's not laid correctly or some shit like that, or it's over. It's too much. I don't know. It's just like there's like yeah, like all of it just became like I don't know, a bit much and just yeah.
I can see that. I mean, Little Women does that masterfully, like we talked about. That's true. I mean, overall, like here we go. I'm going to do it. I loved how the theme was played diegetically on the piano. I loved that.
At the start, like when we open up with Elizabeth walking in, and then you see that Tallulah Riley was like playing like that theme on the piano the entire time. I was gonna like bring it up as like as another thing that you can mention the word diegetically for.
Absolutely, yeah, you can. I thought the score was really nice. Like it just added to the sort of how many other words are there? Charming,
beguiling.
Beguiling, I love that. Thank you. Yeah, that sort of feeling watching the film. I thought that piano main theme was really nice. Overall, yeah. And like I said, it really owns that scene where he's walking through the fog.
What county did they say they're in? Are they in Derbyshire, or does Mr. Darcy live in Derbyshire?
I don't know.
I think they do.
Excellent question.
I don't know.
And like I have no understanding of like geometry, geographically, like just in general, but like in those times, like how much of like a distance would it be from like there to London or there to the next county or whatever, like is it a treacherous path, because there's something about like Lydia going to at the very least, I know like Newcastle to them is very far north, so like I know that's going to take them a while, but like I don't know if they're center, lower. I don't know.
I think they're lower. They sort of indicated that. I mean, London was they talk about it a lot. Like that's sort of the main town, city location that they go to, that they visit. So I presume they're fairly, I don't know, not too far from it. There's a line, you mentioned Newcastle, there's a line in the movie where they're like, it's Wickham, he says like, oh, I'm stationed to go to Newcastle, wherever the hell that is. So it's like, wow, that's interesting. So like they don't even have, like that's like a foreign place for them, like Newcastle, I feel like that's a bit revealing. Mm-hmm. It was kind of weird. But overall, like another thing that I took away from the film is that I just found it interesting, sort of the class structure, I guess, of it, because we've got the Bennets here in their house, and I mean they have an estate, they have an income, they're notable in terms of like they're invited to these balls, and the other families know who they are, so it's not like they're like some random farmers or whatever. But at the same time, so they're not like peasants on the ground, like they're not working people. But at the same time, they're very much still the lower class of the upper class, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. Like I find that interesting. Like they're still looked down upon and are considered lower overall compared to these other people that they're socializing with. Like Judi Dench looks down on them, and that's the whole thing for Darcy, is the fact that, oh my God, I'm marrying this woman who's beneath me, when it's like, wench. I don't know, she's got this big mansion too, like, you know what I mean? This wench. Yeah. So I found that interesting. And also just like little filmmaking things that they do to sort of make that distinction as well. Like when you spend time in the house. I mean, the one at the start with the house really does that as well, but always having the geese and the farm animals and the pigs running through the house, and some of the sound design in the house, there's always like, you can always hear like, flies buzzing sort of in the insects in the background when they're inside, and all that sort of thing. Like it sort of adds this little element as you're watching it of like a reminder that these people aren't quite, there's a clear distinction even in the production design between their house and like, Bingley's or Darcy's or whatever.
Even in the line about like when they're going to buy food, I think towards the end when like they're going to buy things and like, like the Mrs. Bennet is all like, oh yeah, go get this meat, but don't get too much of it or whatever. We only get like one piece. But then it's revealed that Mr. Darcy's coming back and like, oh, we got a whole one of this or whatever, like, to kind of flaunt it. And like,
yeah. That's right. There's that other moment too where Collins like implies that they don't have oh, did you cook this all yourself?
Oh yeah.
And they're like, we have a chef, thank you very much.
Yeah, we cook.
Yeah, we can perfectly. The estate can afford a cook. So yeah, there's other little things like that in the film. I find that interesting, interesting insight overall. I think because I don't really, it's something I'm not really exposed to. I don't really know much about it. I'm sort of just, I know I can picture the aristocrats in their rich houses, and I can picture the peasants, but it's sort of this interesting middle spot.
You've seen that bit on the Graham Norton show with Keira Knightley, and she's talking about like meeting Joe and like the casting for this film. And she was like, originally Joe rejected me for the film because he's like, yeah, I'm too pretty. Like just like based off pictures. But then like they went and met in real life at a cafe or something like for a read through, and he sees her and he goes, oh, nah, you're all right. And, yeah.
That's what I think about sometimes. Like there must be some people that get cast as like the ugly character, you know? Like their role is specifically to be the ugly character in the movie.
Oh, I think about that all the time. Yeah, when I watch it.
Like that was the point of the family friend in this one.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. And I think about that as an actor, like how self-conscious that might make you, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, I guess it's the separation between like, it's typecasting, but it's like, it's typecasting, like you can look at typecasting as like, oh, Bruce Willis always gets cast as the action hero. I mean, I feel like that's like privileged typecasting, you know what I mean? As opposed to, oh, you're ugly, so, or you're like, I don't know, you're old or whatever. So therefore you can play this like dementia person.
The studio just puts a massive sign on the front gate, just saying fat cunt on it, and just, you know.
Yeah, exactly. And how self-aware you have to be. Yeah, God, that's kind of true. Did you guys know? I want to get your thought about the ending. This is noteworthy to me, and I'm talking about the final shot and the cut, and how they end on Donald Sutherland. And if you had anything to say about it before I continue.
No.
Nothing to say at all. You didn't find it slightly abrupt in any way?
Well, I just when I was looking through IMDb before, I did see that there was an alternate ending for Americans, where like Darcy and Elizabeth have a conversation. Is that what you're going to talk about?
Absolutely. There's the US version of the film is 8 minutes longer, and the ending is different. So it cuts from Donald Sutherland to a scene where you can watch it on YouTube. It's a 2-minute scene where Keira Knightley and Darcy are just sort of like, I don't know, they're like hanging out at night and they're just sort of talking. And they're sort of like flirting, and they're like, "Oh my god!" Like in Jane Austen dialogue, so much better. But they're basically saying like, "I love you too, you're awesome," and they smooch, and that's it, and then it cuts. And I was sort of torn because I don't like the scene. I'm glad it's not in this version. It really rounds it off in a too nice. I mean, it's not. I wouldn't think any less of the film overall, but I don't know. Like I like how it ends. They actually never kiss in the cut that we get. I like that. The ultimate culmination of their romance in the film that I find satisfying is that shot of them just sort of embracing each other with the sun coming through, and that's all you get. And I'm fine with that. The US ending's a bit on the nose for me, but I just thought it was interesting nonetheless because when I did watch the film both times, I thought the cut was abrupt at the end. I still thought it was sort of weird to end on this. But your final shot is sort of Donald Sutherland just sitting there and he just says a throwaway line. I thought it was odd. So when I've learnt this trivia, I found that interesting that there actually is another ending that I guess it was a deliberate choice to not include the extra scene or whatever. I wonder why, but definitely worth mentioning.
Well, maybe it says he's such a grouch the whole movie, and then he's like happy at the end, you know.
You think he's such a grouch the whole movie?
Yes.
Are you sure? I think you watched the Colin Firth one and Michael Caine played him, I think, actually.
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy. I think you watched the wrong one. No, I didn't find him a grouch at all. I found him kind of charming and
a bit whimsical.
Yeah, I like when he goes out and talks to Elizabeth, and he's like, what does he say? Like,
you're disowning a parent today, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like, well, and then he takes. What does he say? He takes her side, whatever he says. I guess that I don't know. That's the start of it. Whatever you said, Jane, was the start of it. Oh, well, whatever. That was a really nice scene. But, yeah, I like it.
Wait, what are you talking about? Are you talking about the last scene with them?
No, when Tom Hollander comes up and, like, you know, offers Keira his hand in marriage, the mum's all like, you need to take it. And then the dad's like, don't take it, you know.
Yes.
I think he says, I'm disowning one. He was saying I'm either going to disown like my wife or my daughter, right?
Oh, and it's
Because-
like you're never going to speak to one of your parents.
Yeah,
or
you're never
something
gonna
like
speak to one of us.
Yeah.
That's right, and I guess it won't be me or whatever he says. Yeah.
He said, yeah, if you marry him, like I won't speak to
I'll
you.
never speak to you again.
Yeah.
That was it. Thank you. We got there. Sorry. Yeah, I really like that scene. I thought it was nice. And I also have a life's ambition that where that scene is, that shot of her with the lake and the geese or whatever they are, and the house in the background, is my life's mission to go there to that exact spot.
Is that where Darcy and Bingley had their
that.
little pep talk as well? Like, is that the same?
Yes, it's the same spot. Yeah.
Just so you know, Zach, that those trees have been removed, the lake's been filled in, and the house has been bulldozed for a highway.
God. Yeah.
I mean, I did see it. I did see it in 1790, so you know, it probably is true.
Is that the film setting? 1790.
Yes, it's late 1700s. Yeah.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
I would have thought it'd be 1800s, but interesting.
There was some trivia. There was some trivia about that most adaptations are set in 1820 or something, but this one was noticeably earlier. Well, not noticeably, but I guess.
I think I looked up I was looking up period pieces and it came up in the 19th century. So maybe I was just confused because.
Well, it was written in the 19th century, no? But didn't Jane Austen set it before that? Like she wrote it then, but said it before.
This was the trivia. So her first draft was in the 18th. Sorry, was in the. Oh my god, one of my centuries. Her first draft was in the 18th century, and she released it in the 19th century. And so they chose to set the film when she wrote her first draft.
Interesting. Talking about the pep talk though between Mr. Darcy and Mr. Bennet. I mean, I kind of said this earlier, but it would, I just want to see a movie between with those two, you know, just them, you know, just there. Because we don't get much of the banter or whatever, but that'd be good. Their POV.
I would love that. I would love that so much. Get the same cast back. I'd love it. Get it have it so you do it in a way where stupid me would watch it and go oh, it's so obvious that Darcy loves her from the start, but oh, I know that. What am I saying? The opposite to what I thought the first time. You know, where I'm this time I'm questioning. Wait, does Darcy like her? I don't get why Darcy likes her. You know,
because you'd be introduced to all these people in high society.
Yeah, why would he like this little peasant girl? You know,
but did Miss Bingley liked Mr. Darcy? No.
Oh yeah. Oh, there was even this shot which was a fantastic shot, which was when they're walking around in that room, with the two Bingleys, Mr. Darcy and Elizabeth. It's Mr. Darcy is at the foreground, and then in the background, there's Elizabeth on one side and Miss Bingley on the other. You know,
on the couch, facing each other.
No, yeah, but they're walking across. They walk across from each other in the background, and it's his mind is weighing up the two or something like that.
Interesting.
It is cool. It's a really amazing shot though.
That's a great pickup. I
didn't. And the colors are totally opposite, and it's blue and red and red hair and black hair. I was
how convenient they found a ginger for the role.
She was in Sherlock Holmes. That actress.
Oh yeah. The Downey Jr. ones. Yeah.
The good ones. Yeah.
What about that one shot of the pig's balls as he's walking through the house?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
that was nice. Yeah.
That was cinema.
That was Kino.
That was immersion of the English countryside in the late 18th century.
That's right. That was immersion. Very nice. Very nice.
Oh, I mean, my favorite scene in the movie is when you see Mr. Darcy actually smile when he is in his own house and his sister's playing the piano, and Elizabeth is watching, and then she quickly runs away when he sees her.
Does she think Elizabeth initially thinks that that's his mistress or a prospect or some shit, right? She doesn't realize it's the sister straight up.
No, I don't think so, because the uncle that they're with, or the company she's with, mentions that the sister's here playing the piano.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, I thought it was like she knew exactly what she was seeing correctly, but then like she just got a fright that she was sprung.
Yeah, I just thought it was a bit weird that she died away so quick, but yeah. I don't know.
Yeah,
He caught on to
that's
it.
just because like it was just a Darcy.
Mm.
Yeah, I think.
Mr. Darcy. Yeah, I know. It was funny. I did also like the scene where she goes and like just visits his private museum for some reason, and there's like a statue of him,
Yeah,
and she's
the
like,
sculpture. Yeah.
"Yeah, he is pretty hot, I guess." Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought that pretty funny actually. All right, I think that's it. Well, that'll do it. That'll do it. Let's go to our final verdicts for Pride and Prejudice, Liam.
I'll give it an 8. I think it deserves an 8. I was like between 7 and 8, but yeah, I think just talking about it has elevated it a little bit, and I think, it is some stellar acting and stuff, so yeah, 8 out of 10.
Excellent, Jaden.
Yeah. Big, fat, strong, old English 8.
Nice.
Imperialistic 8. Colonialistic.
I'll give it a rock hard 8 as well, man. You know what I mean?
Rock hard.
I couldn't get through that without giggling. It's really good. I can see myself. I feel like I enjoyed it a lot more the second time. I can see myself revisiting this film as just sort of a pleasant watch in the future, and I can even see it being like a cascading, like every time like I watch it, it goes up a point. I can see that happening with this film. I feel like this has 9 potential for me, but it's not quite. I'm going to calm down, but it's a strong 8. I really enjoy it for sure. As always, now it's time for our highlights of the week. Jaden, what have you been watching?
I'll talk about Prey now because it's new, and I'll save the Batman rewatch for post show. Patreon exclusive stuff.
Yes.
Prey was really great. It's the best Predator movie they've put out. Just plain and simple. I don't know. It was nice. It was a good setting. Like it looks stunning. Like the American heartland just shot naturally. Like there's no.
Oh man.
It's just.
You've made me want to watch
nice.
it right there.
Like in the past, we get Vietnam and downtown LA, and then we get the Predators planet, and we get suburban area. It's all quite ugly. There's like even the Predator planet. It's got this too. Bit. Ill. But no, this looks great. It's great. Amber, Mid Thunder. I can't remember if it's Mid Thunder or Mind Thunder, but she the girl from Legion is fantastic as the lead. Just the whole, just like I don't know, like just seeing indigenous culture from another side of the world is always interesting as well. Like just similarities and differences. Because this this was 1716, so this is before Australia was even settled. So like seeing it's minimal. It's not minimal, but like there's not much of like the way that like the colonials interact with the natives, but like it's still there and it's still interesting to see. I think a sci-fi film like this will always do a better job of just depicting like why colonialism was inherently bad than something that like as like explicit as like a film directly addressing it, just because like audiences will always favor and pick up on subtlety more than of like adversity. Like just like it's a case of show don't tell, and like like it's in films specifically like addressing like colonialism and like just like the massacring and the viruses and just everything, like it's just telling you, and it takes you out of it, and you're like it's too much. It's like we get it, but in this when it's just showing it, and you're like you see how it affects them, how it just does it better. And I think that's the case for a lot of films that try and prove a point. It just gets done better by products doing it subtly and not as attentively. But yeah, like in terms of like the actual Predator Prey type thing, in this film is fantastic as well. Like the combat's great, CGI is great. I saw someone having a look about it, but like the CGI is great. The Predator looked great as like a kind of like something we learn in like the early Predators is about like the way they evolve their technology over time to deal with the combatants they face. So seeing this like pre-evolved Predator is really cool, and like the technology he has is really sick. I don't know, it's a great film, like genuinely. I can't with the way it looks alone, I can't believe they did not put this on the big screen. That is nuts, absolutely fucking nuts. Yeah.
Fantastic. You've totally sold me. I was like, yeah, I might watch it. But yeah, that sounds fantastic. I've never seen a Predator. I assume that wouldn't really matter, but
Not really.
okay.
Dan Trenchard, fucking 10 Cloverfield Lane, man, directed it.
Oh, excellent. Oh, man, dude. Oh, my God. You're ticking so many boxes right here for me. This is great. I might watch it tonight. I'll see. I finished Light and Magic, which is a Disney Plus docuseries sort of chronicling the beginning and evolution of ILM, which, for those who don't know, is, the biggest visual effects company in the world, started by George Lucas in the mid-70s, and sort of their evolution over time and the people who founded it and how they innovated at first special effects and then moving into visual effects and CG and all that sort of stuff that they pioneered, and sort of just chronicling, their history as a company, chronicles a lot of stuff that if you're like me and know a lot about the production of all the Star Wars movies, and it chronicles a lot of that same stuff I already know, but then also delves into, just how a lot of this technology was developed in the first place that we just take CG for granted these days. So that element was new and interesting to me too. But yeah, I highly recommend it. Like if you feel like documentaries, if you're into, anyone who knows me knows I'm into super in depth, like behind the scenes making of stuff, and this is just that in spades. And we got modern 80-year-old George Lucas interviews. Can't go wrong with that. I watched.
Is he 80?
He's 80. Yeah. Well, I think. Well, if not, he's like 79. He's close.
Holy.
Yeah, like if you're like me and you've watched countless hours of George Lucas interviews on YouTube, then you're starting to get sick of the like, mate, I've seen you talk from the years of 2005 from 1980 to 2005, like for countless hours. You know what I mean? It's cool to get him like 2022 George Lucas. I'm hearing him, the man in the flesh. He's there. He's alive. It's crazy. It's weird. So yeah, that's cool as well. So yeah, I would recommend it. It's only 6 parts, so it's not too long or anything like that. Very interesting. And of course, sort of chronicles focuses on, in some respects, like the friendship between Lucas, Spielberg, the party that we talk about, the Spielberg, De Palma. Who else is in it? Coppola. Those guys as well. It plays a bit of a role in it as well, which is interesting. All right, Liam Fitzpatrick, what's up?
I've been watching The Rehearsal from Nathan Fielder. Yeah, it's hilarious. It's one of the funniest shows I've ever seen in my life. It's like he has a kind of different like project every week, but the main thing that is the consistent project he's doing is like, so he had this woman on who wanted to like trial like having a kid, kind of like in this like controlled environment in a house, and then he inserted himself into it as the dad, and so like he'll like come back from somewhere, and they have child actors to play the kids, or like they had like baby actors and stuff who can only work for like 4 hours, and the kid will be like 5 or something, and then he'll go and do some other project. Like he went to LA to like find actors to like play characters in the show or whatever, to like, so that, because the whole point of the show is like he's trying to rehearse situations with people so that they can get past things. Like the first episode is kind of like the most like complete picture of that. Like there's this guy who told his trivia group that he has a master's when he doesn't, and now he has this lie which is like built up over the years, and he has to tell this one friend. So he like rehearses all the different conversations that he can have with this woman who like, and he's like really scared of like their friendship being ruined or whatever. But then he gets distracted by the trivia and stuff. It's just really hilarious. And so yeah, he'll like come back and the kid is like 15 now, and he's like a drug addict and stuff. And it's like So you have like an actor playing that, and then yeah, it's just really funny. And yeah, I don't know. It's like, so he's like this like socially awkward kind of. That's like his persona, or like who he is, I guess. But he just like takes that to the limit every time, like asking people, like getting like as uncomfortable as he can with people, kind of, and keeping like a straight face all the time. But they find all these weird people somehow. Like they found this guy in the second episode who was like obsessed with like numbers and symbols and stuff. Like he's like on the highway, he like keeps pointing out like threes or whatever. And he finds all these super like religious people. And they're like the main characters of the show. So yeah, it's really great.
Sounds totally wild. It sounds totally wild. You've explained it to me before, Fitzy, and I've also, this week on a podcast, it came up and they were explaining it. I feel like I just need to see it to believe it. You know what I mean? Like I still don't fully get it, I feel like, you know? But that makes me want to watch it. That makes me want to watch it.
Yeah, you should.
All right. Very good. As always, now we hand the show over to you with our question of the show. Last week we asked you, if you were to make a period piece, where would you set it? Luke said, I think a really cool period piece would be around 16th century Europe. During this time, the mathematization of nature occurred. Essentially, during this time, mathematical practice began to influence and act as the skeleton in which natural philosophy was theorized. It's when Galileo and others, Galileo and others were trying to mathematize the pendulum and cannonball fire. Wait, what? As in inventing like cannonballs?
No, as in like looking at the trajectory and like trying to figure it out, like with math, and like
how to use them practically.
Not how to use them practically, but like just trying to like measure them. I mean, maybe there is practical applications for it, but like just trying to.
Well, yeah, like pirate ships. No,
I don't know, maybe.
Well, they did use them, right? Like I've always wondered about how they figured that out.
I don't know if Blackbeard's whipping out a protractor and trying to fucking find out the time spent of the cannonball in the air of the previous one.
But like I assume that they had to come up with like the basis, the fundamentals for how they can be used as such, right?
Like I think they were already in use at that point. I think they were just trying to map it.
Oh,
I think that's what you're saying, right?
Oh, okay. So, I understand. It's like a different order. I see.
I think.
Wait, where was I up to? Oh, yeah. All the top mathematicians had like a letter exchange where they wrote to each other. Could be interesting to see a story with mathematics as a strong plot point rather than a hand-wavy because science explanation. Guys, we all know what Luke's dream film is right now, obviously. Someone needs to go and make an Origins of Mathematics film. I wouldn't watch it, but Andy said, if I were to make a period piece, it would be a martial arts film, and it would be set in early 1600s China, presumably a bit before Isaac Newton discovered gravity in 1687. So Chinese people could have the ability to fly and fight at the same time. Would have been quite realistic. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Isaac Newton discovered gravity in 1687. Luke had no issue with that, by the way. None. 0.
He discovered gravity.
He did.
It's like, wow.
I mean, it's the same way like maths was made up, you know what I mean? Just to ruin people's lives for generations in high school. Aidan said, Old West 1800s / early 1900s for sure. Put all of my year 12 media Western / spaghetti Western study to good use. You can't really go wrong with that. That's a great. I feel like I was going to answer that. And then I was like, that's a bit boring. But I'm like, yeah, it's so good though. I didn't end up, but like, that's like, I love Westerns. I love it. Aiden comes at us with a follow-up question, but should we do that?
I had to look at it, so I have an answer to it.
So the follow-up question? Okay, we'll do it in a sec. But first, Jane, if you had a period piece, where would you set it?
Honestly, I did not think about this question at all during the week. I forgot about it until you mentioned it like fucking 2 minutes ago. I was like, oh shit, that was our question. Probably the interwar period in Europe. I quite like kind of Weimar Germany and like kind of, the art and the kind of depression and the architecture that emerged from like that kind of period of 1918 to 39. I think it's really cool. Not often explored because like the world wars either side kind of dominate. Yeah, maybe there.
It's interesting. Now, what would the story be about, Jaden?
It'd be about. Oh, God.
Oh, you didn't realize you had to write a treatment screenplay.
I forgot we had to pitch this.
Yeah,
it'd be about this youthful and really happy Austrian painter, and he's applying to his favorite paint school. But the paint school rejects this Austrian boy because he's too ambitious. And the Austrian boy gets all the wrong ideas from this, and he starts blaming the wrong parties. And he decides, if I can't paint, I will dictate. So we have a look at this young boy's path in the interwar periods, trying to get to power, all the way up to 1939, where he's already achieved power by this stage, but he's doing terrible things with this power.
Right. Yes.
Mm.
And then is he shot from behind with a shotgun and falls down into a pool in his own home? Is that the ending?
You're thinking of the complete wrong thing.
No? Am I really?
Yeah.
Oh no, I feel stupid. I feel like I had it. It's got to be in the vein, though, right?
No, I don't think. Tell me who you're thinking of, because I'm pretty sure.
I just thought you were giving me like a Scarface sort of thing.
Oh no.
He's thinking of Scarface.
Liam, do you know who I was talking about?
Yeah. I know what you mean.
Do you care to reveal?
I wonder what are the.
He has a very famous mustache. How about that?
He
I'm not following.
Early 20th century.
He was actually a bit of a war hero in the First World War, which got him into the good books with the people in with some of the people in Germany when he was
Germany.
trying to
Really?
In Germany.
And he has this really famous in the 1920 or 21, I can't recall. He has this really famous beer hall speech where he went to this beer hall, and I think it was in Munich or something like that. Somewhere in Bavaria or something like that. Maybe it was in Munich, I don't know. And he goes there and he gets on the table and he's like, "People, we need to rally against the evil." And like some of the people in the room are like, "Yeah, nah, whatever," and they like leave. But he gets arrested and he spends time in jail. And while he's in jail, he writes a book, a very famous book. And that book's called Minecraft.
Minecraft.
Wow. That's a very well thought out Inglourious Bastards prequel. Thank God it's all fiction. Very well thought out.
So you got it.
Very good. All right. Wait, did I save? Oh, yeah. Yeah, now, Fitzy, where would you set your period piece? And if you like, you can pitch a story.
Well, I have two answers. So the first would obviously be 300s BCE with Philip and Alexander, because that would be a lot of fun. There already is an Alexander movie directed by Oliver Stone with Colin Farrell, so I gotta watch that. But
sounds amazing.
Yeah, but yeah, I'd probably do it better. So
yeah, of course, yeah.
I'd do that, and also like the 1760s, like Mason and Dixon, like the Mason and Dixon line between Pennsylvania and Maryland. I'd do a story about them traveling America. Before independence, from like the pinch on dogs that I'm reading. I'm gonna do an essay on for fucking uni. But yeah, it's like just full of all these characters and eccentricities, and it's just a time that's not really explored as much, and it's a shame because it's like the most interesting time. So yeah.
We should just orientate all future questions to things that like we can help answer our essays for uni.
Yeah.
Oh, great point. Yeah.
So
You've been
wasting this opportunity for years.
Yeah.
For me, I don't know. Like I feel like anything in the golden age of piracy and the West Indies or the Caribbean, I'm just like so into that. You know what I mean?
Golden age of the West Indies. You mean when they were
the golden age of piracy? What?
I was going to make a joke about cricket and about like the golden age of the West Indies was in the 80s and 90s when they were just
Right.
dominant piano house, but
I personally would not make a story about a cricket team. Just me, just me. I feel like Black Sails like perfectly fulfills that for me. So like I don't know if I'd make that, but I just wanted to say that like that's a great setting. And also, I feel like I've got to choose between the American Revolutionary or Civil War. I feel like I'll go Revolution because I feel like I've seen the Civil War more. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, I feel like I have seen the Civil War more. So go with the American Revolution, and I'd follow like a cook. You know what I mean? I feel like we've already talked about it today, and that's because I have a fascination with catering. And so I'd get like, what's George Washington's personal chef doing? When he's out there, you know what I mean? And how did the chef, of course,
he was black.
Was he actually? That's great.
Well, that was in the Mason and Dixon book I'm reading. And it's like this French chef as well. Like he had like a whole thing.
Oh.
The Haitian Revolution, very very interesting as well.
The what revolution?
Haiti. So, like when the Haitians revolted against the French.
Oh, okay.
Because Liam mentioned French, and that just came to mind. And you were talking about revolutions. I was like, oh yeah, that's a banger.
Okay. When was that? When was that one?
I don't know, like 1780s.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It was in the period of like enlightenment, and the Haitians heard about it, and like, if everyone else is getting enlightened, why can't we get enlightened? So they're
like, fuck yeah, bro, let's do it. Let's give it a go.
There was this really cool bloke. What was his name? Shit! This dude that led the revolution was so sick. Yeah, this is a really epic name as well. I need to remember it. I'd definitely make a movie about that though. Yeah.
That's a good one. That's good. Had a sick name. I love that. Very good. Very good. All right. Thank you for your answers. I feel like that was a quality question. I enjoyed that. But now, as always, we'd love you to submit your questions, thoughts, reviews for next week's film in the YouTube comment section. Send us a DM on Instagram or join that Discord. Yeah. All right. This week we're asking you, what is the best Clint Eastwood movie? Does anyone have any objections to this question? No objections. Listeners, if you have an objection, DM me. All right. That's it for this week's episode of Cinema Effect. Thanks everyone for tuning in.
Listen to this name, Toussaint Louverture.
No way.
How fucking epic is that,
dude? Is he so? But he's like a native. I don't know what the correct term is. Haitian.
Back then it was called Saint Domingo, but I think that was a colonized name.
Right.
But, it's a really interesting story because the Spanish actually fought on the side of the Haitians because they wanted to disrupt the French as well. Like there's a lot of shit going on there. Like that's a
cool.
It's a banger of a time.
Make that a television series. Get all political. Get some sex scenes in there.
Well, it's a bit exploitive.
It's got the makings of a HBO original right there, bro. No doubt about it. All right. Next week, what are we doing,
Liam? Dirty Harry.
The Gorilla song. Just 4 minutes of the Gorillas.
I'm down for that. That's expanding the content. Music. And what's it on?
Stan and Prime Video Entertainment Australia Incorporated.
Proprietary Limited, LLC.
Yeah. Oh, should we be adding, like, for the international audiences, a way to access these films? Because we only talk about it in an Australianic sense,
Yeah.
What if poor little Jimmy in America is like goes on to Netflix and he's like, I can't say Pride and Prejudice here. He's like, those bastards lied to me.
That's an excellent point. All right. We appreciate you all being I don't know. I feel like, do you get a VPN? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Figure it out. Get your shit together. I feel like people should download a VPN just to download Stan and subscribe to Stan. All right, Liam and Jane, thanks for being here as always. Thanks everyone for listening. We'll see you next time. Have a great rest of your week and goodbye.